Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it was a great trip. It is a great trip. Your boy is back, ready to get back to work. It was a little different. It was a little different being away from you guys. It was the first game, I think, in 3 seasons. First Bills game I missed in 3 seasons. So I was a little bummed about it. But I did get to watch it, and I did do the live after. And then obviously Sunday night was a big game. Yeah. But it was good to get away, breathe some fresh air for once, step away from the computer. But I am back. I am back. So make sure you guys hit that like, that thumbs up. And of course, if you are new, subscribe to the channel, lock it in. We're going to get into the conversation as far as Mr. Brock Purdy, these 49ers, these Cowboys. What happened last night was absolutely nothing short of crazy. I'm not going to beat up on the Cowboys too much. We already did that for the Cardinals. We really got to sit down and talk about Dak Prescott and whether or not this Dallas team is who we thought they were going to be. But obviously, before we get into that, we're going to talk about the main character, the main event, and that's Brock Purdy. So, yeah, the question right now is, does Brock Purdy belong in the MVP discussion, right? Obviously, we're seeing what the man's doing on the field. For those who love to say, hey, it's a fluke, he's a system quarterback, Mr. Relevant, where he was drafted, none of that stuff matters. Because when you step out on that field and you go out there and you perform and you're productive and you're leading your team to victories, you're racking up the yards, you're racking up the touchdowns, you're playing so efficient and so focused and so poised, all the noise out there slowly disappears. And not only that, I'm going to harp on you guys who kept saying that I was completely wrong. I was telling everyone last year that Brock Purdy would be the next quarterback up to be potentially elite. And guess what? Here we are, week 5, undefeated. He hasn't lost a game that he has started in and finished. Okay, before someone says, well, he lost the game last year. No, he has not lost a game that he has started and finished. So here we are. Obviously, I mean, we can get into stats, which we will. But just my quick synopsis as far as for last night from Mr. Purdy. He basically scored all over the field, right? He didn't just focus on one specific side or the middle. He was all over the field. He didn't just use one lane. His vision is beyond his years. And if you look at the way that he's able to survey the defense and make adjustments and scan the field, there is not many quarterbacks who are playing at the level that he is in the time span that he is right now. So when you look at the way that he's reading the defense, he's making the adjustments, he's taking his time, he's not freaking out under pressure. This is a different quarterback. And yes, it doesn't matter if you're a rival team and you hate the man. You have to appreciate the way that he is playing right now. Regardless if you believe that it's going to keep going, regardless if you believe in the man and his statistics, whatever it is, and the system and all that, you have to appreciate it. Things that I don't like, right? The balls that were batted down. Now, it would seem that's maybe a height issue or something like that. You could kind of say, yeah, he reminds me of Drew Brees so much, but a better Drew Brees. And I'm not saying that he is better than Drew Brees, but I'm saying that he has some sights in him that I'm seeing, some highlights in him that remind me of Drew Brees. I would like to see him run for a few more yards here and there, and from what obviously he doesn't need to run as much, but I would like to see it. I mean, there's times where, yeah, he's back there in the pocket. He'll just throw it away, but he does have the ability to get a couple yards on those runs. I would like to see that. As far as his throwing, I mean, the only thing I can harp on is probably the velocity in his throwing, but his ability to drop the ball in the bucket, it's undebatable. And without a doubt, if you can hate all you want, the man's winning. And I was having actually a discussion with the the family in regards to Mr. Brock Purdy and whether or not if he would work in this, if he'd work anywhere else, right? This specific system, this specific team is what's working for him. If he went and played for the Bears, would he make a difference? If he went and played for the Jets, would he make a difference? And I say yes, because guess what? No matter if it's a great system or not, you still have to go out there and perform and be great to win, no matter what. So there you go. Before I get into the stats, let's go ahead and get into some of these comments. Shout out to the Wrench Gang. Shout out to the family, all the listeners, all the watchers. What do we got? What do we got? Says Omar, says, we miss you this weekend, Jay. Shout out to you, Omar. The other live streamers are inferior to Jay. You said it, sir. You said it. You said it. Melvin says, preseason, almost a third of the way through the regular season, playoffs, Super Bowl, a lot of football left. You young gamblers and fantasy leaguers need to slow down. Game Pro 256, what up, man? What's going on with you tonight? Parent78 says it was a great Sunday night game. It was great. It was great. Jobless, what up, man? Dan says, hey, Jay, what up? What up, Dan? What's going on with you tonight? Jacob says, yo, Jay, let's go Steelers. Steelers did their thing. We can get into that, but from what I hear, it was a fluke. But hey, Alex says, I don't want to talk about Sunday night. Oh, we're going to talk about it, Alec. We're going to talk about it. We are going to talk about it. Steelers fan forever says Steelers goated. Let's go, Sassy in the house. Rebecca in the building. Bills Mafia in the house. Java says, I signed up on the Coke website while drinking Pepsi. All right, whatever works for you, man. Shout out to John. Says, welcome back. Thanks a lot, John. Shout out to you, man. Parent78 says, I think through 5 games, yes, he should be in the MVP talks. I agree. He should be in the MVP talks. A lot of people are going to say, no, he shouldn't because it's him. But if it was anybody else doing this, yeah, put him in the MVP talks along with Christian McCaffrey, without a doubt. Dave says, Dallas who? After watching the game, that game, I'm going to be a Raiders fan now thanks to Dak. You know, there's select Dallas fans that I think about when I'm watching these specific games. And you know who you are. I'm not going to mention you by name. But there are select, about 5. There's about 5 Dallas fans that I were thinking about when this game was going on. And you know what? I wanted to harp on them so much. I wanted to go online immediately after the game was over. But I said, you know what? I'm going to wait for this. I'm going to wait for this. I'm going to wait to get home. And I'm not going to beat y'all down today. I'm really not, because guess what? I tried to tell you that Brock Purdy was serious. This wasn't a joke. It wasn't something that was just going to be, oh, he's going to play for a couple games and then just fall off. No. This man, Kittle, is balling. Ayuk, when you look at the defense that they have, the offensive line, he's got plenty of time back there. But forget all that, right? Let's say he didn't have all that. Brock Purdy studies the defense, and I'm not going to mention a GOAT's name, okay? But he reads the defense. If you look at his eyes, if you look at the time he's spending back there in the pocket, he's poised, he's focused. He's not freaking out when there's a lineman running and breathing down his neck. He's stepping up. He's still looking down the field. He's using that cone, you know, that vision thing that you should have as a quarterback that some have like this. This man is like this. He's looking at the whole field. He's figuring out where he needs to go, and he's dropping that ball in the direction that he needs to. Alex says he's a great quarterback that makes great decisions. Like, his confidence is crazy. Yes, without a doubt, his confidence is top-notch. Parent78 says he isn't dacking it. Rebecca's making soup and sourdough bread. I like it. It's a chilly day. Definitely a soup day. Damn the Grifter says 49ers to the Super Bowl. You can't deny it right now. You can't deny it. Dan says 49ers West NFC champions. Dave says Doug Flutie what? Listen, don't be talking about old Bills players here, sir. We're not talking about the Bills right now. We're talking about these Cowboys and the 49ers. Kyle Shanahan and Brock is magic? Yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Rebecca says, is it true that London laid turf over cement? I read a quick story about that, and I have not confirmed it, so I don't know. But I want to confirm it. I want to look into it before I start talking about it. But, you know, it's really unfortunate. And when you have players making statements like that, because they're the ones on the field, they're the ones playing on it, so you kind of have to read into why they're mad, because if they're saying it and they're getting injured, it looks like it's to be true. Jacob says, Jay, how did you guys lose yesterday morning? We're not talking about that, sir. We're talking about these Cowboys and the 49ers, because we only lost by 5. Okay? We only lost by 5. We'll get into that. You had your chance to discuss that after the game yesterday. We're on these Cowboys now. Richard Thomas says America's team will be there at the end. I don't know. Maybe you need to take a different moniker because America's team is not looking too good. Richard says San Fran not going anywhere. All right, still not believing in it, huh? Still not believing in it. JR says, you just gave me a new team to follow. San Fran, I'll have to wait for next year for the AFC East to do anything. Now listen, sir. This is week 5. But I told you guys at the beginning of the season, even when we're doing the regular preseason predictions, not going through all that kind of stuff, I said I had the Bills and the 49ers in the Super Bowl. Now, obviously, we still have a bunch of weeks of football left. We got to get through the playoffs, all that stuff. My projections is still there. Nothing's changed. And if you're a real Bills fan and a real Bills believer like myself, I'm not worried about the loss to Jacksonville, right? We understand that the Jets and the Jags are going to be tough teams, and we go back and forth all the time. When it boils down to it, are we going to beat the Bengals? Are we going to beat the Chiefs? We get to the playoffs. These are the teams that we have to focus on to beat. Okay, I don't care about the Jags game. I get it. Yeah, we lost by 5 points, whatever. What I care about is making it to the playoffs, beating the Bengals, beating the Chiefs, or whoever else gets there. That's what I'm focused on. So, sure. But here's the issue with the Cowboys, okay? We're going to stay focused on this stream. When we get into the Cowboys discussions, it's always, it's their year, and Dak is going to do this, and this defense was number 1. Well, guess what? The Cardinals showed us exactly what this defense was about. And then guess what? Oh, it's just one game. It's a fluke, The Cowboys had to give them one. All right, fine. We'll take your word for it. But what's going to happen against the 49ers? Oh, it's going to be a close game. Brock Purdy's going to get sacked 3 times. He's going to throw all these interceptions. Well, this is where I get into the part about the stats, ladies and gentlemen. This is where I get into the part about the stats. Here we go. 10-42, ladies and gentlemen. 10-42. So this is what your allegedly number one defense gets. They allow 42 points. Dak Prescott goes 14 of 24, 153 yards. His average was 6.4. 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions, 3 sacks, and ends with a QBR of 46.4. Tony Pollard ends with a modest 8 carries for 29 yards. Wow. CeeDee Lamb, 4 receptions, 49 yards. Jake Ferguson, 3 receptions, 28 yards. Michael Gallup, 2 of 15. What are we talking about here? Let's get into Mr. Brock Purdy. 1,271 yards, 9 touchdowns, 83.7 on the QBR. And he went 17 for 24. Completion percentage was 70.8, 252 yards. 10.5 was the average. 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Long was 42. What happened, Cowboys defense? What happened? And yes, right, you got some injuries. We'll take that. But guess what? The majority of the work that the Cowboys defense has done has been from the line anyways, right? The sacks, the quarterback hurries, right? the strip sack, the scoop and scores. That's what we've known and what we've seen over the last 4 weeks. So why didn't that happen in this game, right? All the talk from Parsons, all the talk from Lawrence, what happened? And you know what I'm waiting for? I'm waiting for a couple of individuals who normally have so much to say in the stream, and for some reason, they're not here today. This always happens, right? When the Bills lose and I have to have a conversation about it and we have to go over everything that happened and I have to deal with the Josh Allen is inconsistent, Josh Allen can't figure it out in big moments, I'm here for that. But whenever these Cowboys lose, certain people who have so much to say are gone. And they can't take the heat. They can't take the pressure. And then they have Luta bring them excuses. But we're not doing that here today. We are not doing that here today, Luta. We are not allowing them to get off the hook. That is not how this works. You have phones, you get updates, and I know you get updates because for any other stream, you are here for it, Cowboys fans. So I don't want to hear it today. I don't want to hear it. Richard says, plus Bills played well. Grifter says, true. If the Bills beat the Chiefs, I can see the Bills going to the Super Bowl. That's the team, right? That's the team. I'm very solid on knowing that we're going to get past the Bengals because they're just not the same team this year. Chiefs, they're not scoring at the level that they have been over the years. And like I've always said, since we've started this season, even before it, the Bills just have to score 35 or more points, and they are going to win. We don't score 35 points, we don't win. We score 35, we win. Just the reality of it. Dave says, we got torched left and right, honestly, since Diggs went down. The team just hasn't been the same, just saying. Okay. Gilmore is trash and needs to retire, and Bland is too small. You're giving up on Gilmore, huh? Doesn't have any more. Stephen Davis says, we're talking about a defense that shut down the Cowgirls and an offense that torched the Cowgirls defense. That's what I'm saying. Shout out to you, Luta. Melvin says, Smash Bob Evans says, AM loved it. It was delicious. Dave says, I can't even wear my Cowboys hat today after that performance. Yo, you guys are such... Some of you are fair weather fans. Bro, I still had to wear my Bills gear. That is for sure. Dave says, here it is. Steve says, and the Bills lost to a below average team. What's up? Jags are a below average team? Since when? TBE Trucking, worst week ever? Yeah, it was tough. Melvin says, Chiefs are doing just enough to win, just like the Eagles. Just enough to win. Here goes Jackson. I know it's going to be a hater moment. Here we go. Not to be a hater. There it is. But let's be for real. Any quarterback throwing to CMC, George Kittle, and Deebo Samuel could be in the MVP conversation. Regardless, he's still a quarterback the 49ers should franchise tag. Listen, we've been having this conversation time and time again, right? All right. If that's the case, why isn't Jimmy G there doing his thing? Right? Why'd they get rid of Jimmy G? Right? He would have worked in that same system, right? And at one point he did. But obviously he wasn't the man. Trey Lance couldn't work in that system. And obviously you could say, okay, with CMC coming in, it changes things. But guess what? That's just one player. It's one player. So once again, it goes back to, even if it's a quote-unquote system, you have to be a good quarterback to still make that system work. Steven says AFC is not going to the Super Bowl, and I don't care which team is in the playoffs. Parents says, Jay almost messaged you on Facebook yesterday during that game. Please do. Please message. I get them regardless. I get all kinds of messages and all kinds of DMs, so you might as well send it. Shout out to you. E. Capone says, Purdy is the next Montana. So I don't think that much, because I see him as potentially the next Breeze, but better. I see him as the next Breeze, but better. The way that, like I said, the way he's able to read defenses, he is well above his or beyond his time in regards to how he's surveying the field and playing the game. You know, the level of focus, the level of poise, you know, taking his time back there, letting the play develop, using his receivers, making sure that ball is right where it needs to be, not freaking out when the pressure's on. You know, you really don't see him get hurried up that much. And then when he does get hurried up, he has the good footwork. He has the athleticism to move and shift. And guess what? Still look down the field. He's not, oh, let me move out the way and just cradle the ball and then go down. No, I'm moving out the way and I'm still looking down the field to make that pass. And that's the difference between your system quarterback and someone who's actually great and could potentially be elite. And I'm using great right now, but if I have to put a grade on the greatness, because there's levels to great quarterbacks, and then there's levels to elite quarterbacks. If I had to put a grade on Brock Purdy's greatness right now, it'd be a solid B, because guess what? He's playing perfect football. There's little things here and there that you can fix, but you can't complain about anything that he's doing. You can go through every other quarterback on this list, and here you go. Here's your top 10. You've got Tua Tagovailoa, Kirk Cousins, C.J. Stroud, Matthew Stafford, Josh Allen, Sam Howell, Patrick Mahomes, Brock Purdy, Jared Goff, and then Jalen Hurts. Look where he is. He's number 8. The only higher completion percentage than Brock Purdy right now is Josh Allen, and Josh Allen's number 1 at 73.1. So, yes, when it comes to the question of whether or not Brock Purdy should be in the MVP discussion, it should be a resounding yes. And if you don't believe it, drop it in the chat. Let me know why. But I feel personally that he should be in the discussion. I do. Shout out to Mary Alice, as I represented the Bills in my hat and hoodie today, even though it was in Victory Monday. Posted it to my social media. Shout out to you, Sassy. Let's go. Richard says, how about Sanders proving you can overcome sacks? Going to be awesome in the NFL, without a doubt. Joe Black says, one player matters. McCaffrey changed a lot for the 49ers. Add McCaffrey to the Bills right now. That's a big change. Once again, Joe Black, you have to have a system. See, here's the thing. And this I'm gonna prove it to you. We let go of Zach Moss, right? We had Zach Moss just sitting on the bench right behind Singletary. Singletary would run, right? He get a little bit of tired. Bring in Zach Moss. He gets you those 4 or 5 yards. Zach Moss probably just had one of the greatest games he's ever had for the Colts on Sunday. He could have did the same thing for the Bills, but guess what? We didn't utilize him because our system didn't work. So regardless if you bring Christian McCaffrey over to the Bills, if he's not utilized properly, he's getting the same treatment that every other running back has had with the Bills. Let's talk about it. Gary says, love your show, Jay. You tell it like it is. Shout out to you, Gary. You already know how we do over here. Parent78 says, Jay, does Dallas fire their coach after this year? I think if they don't make the playoffs. Jackson says, Dallas needs to fire Dak. He keeps losing it. They're going to start calling for his head. That's when you guys will start seeing those jerseys getting burned, and we'll be making compilation videos of it. Bob says, same old Dallas BS. When is his organization going to learn? Just another repeat of Romo. Stuff. Shout out to Jeff King coming through with the $20 super chat. Says, Jay, good to see you. Safe travels. The only thing that makes me feel better after a Bills loss is kicking a rabid dog in the mouth and a Dallas dismantling. Couldn't find a rabid dog, so Dallas, thank you. Safe travels, Jay. Shout out to you, Jeff.
Jay, good to see you. Safe travels. The only thing that makes me feel better after a Bills loss is kicking a rabid dog in the mouth and a Dallas dismantling. Couldn't find a rabid dog, so Dallas, thank you. Safe travels, Jay.
Let's go. Shout out to you, Jeff King. Thank you for the support, my friend. Much, much appreciated. I hope you're doing well. If you have not, shoot me an email. Let me know what's going on, but keep me updated. Shout out to you, Jeff. Someone said, where is Dak on this list? Dak is number 16. He is under Desmond Ridder, Justin Herbert, Justin Fields, Russell Wilson, and Trevor Lawrence. So, yeah, Dak Prescott. Number 16 on this list of the top quarterbacks. TB Trucking says, need to retire Dak with his boys. Yeah. Jackson says, Jay, if you put Jordan Love in the 49ers situation, he's prime A-Rod. Listen, I don't think so. And I'll tell you why. There's certain situations where you're seeing how Purdy is progressing through this defense. See, here's a problem that I have. You guys are seeing everything that he's doing and like, oh, yeah, my quarterback could do that on offense. My quarterback could do that on offense. Pay attention to how he's navigating through these defenses, specifically the defenses that you guys have been glorifying for the last 4 weeks. Go look at the tape. Don't just, hey, I'm looking at the game. Actually go back and look at how he's reading the defenses of the games that he's played. And ask yourself, what does my quarterback do when they get pressured or when they feel a lineman breathing down their neck? That is the question. Because when you notice the difference between your quarterback and what Brock Purdy is doing, then you may realize the science in regards to what being special is and what he's doing out on the field. The statistics look pretty good, but surprising the numbers of yards these quarterbacks have is very high, without a doubt. Richard says, teach Coach Jay. I'm on it. The Miz says, Jay is a little wound up. Listen, I'm back. I'm refreshed. I'm refreshed. This is what happens when you take a little break. You come back, you fired up. That's why, if you work a lot, you got to take your little vacation, because when you come back, you're refreshed, you're ready to go, you're focused, you're on point. So y'all got me back at the original level without the hoodie on. Jackson says, Jay, can you spare 15 cents to a Cowboys fan? Yes, I can. I will send that in today. Big Homie Fredo says, we need to fire Harbs. It's the coaching for my Ravens. Yeah, the Ravens took a sad loss, to be honest. There should be no reason why they lost 17-10, without a doubt. Patrick Mahomes ranking at number 7, best of the quarterback in stats, is very shocking. Listen, he's going to do some changes too. If you look at the way that they're winning, they're in the same boat that the Eagles is. And it's really crazy to me that the Eagles are 5-0 because they are just skating by. And I'm not going to sit here and be a hater because, yes, I really thought that the Rams had stood a good chance, but I gave the Eagles the benefit of the doubt. I said they're probably still going to win because that's what they've been doing. They've been just skating by. The Rams, to me, is a team that is, hit or miss. They could have played a great game and potentially made it close and beat them, or they could have did exactly what they did and allowed the Eagles to take the victory. That's what happened. Melvin says, Dallas fans are rough. One bad game, and they call for that guy's head every time. Romo always blew it, and he got to go for about 7 years. So, listen, there was a stat that we mentioned, was it last week? Dak Prescott has the most wins without making it to a championship, followed by that quarterback you just mentioned, Tony Romo. Think about that stat, and then you would understand why the Dallas fans would call for Tony Romo's head, and now obviously Dak Prescott. So there you go. Jackson says the problem with quarterbacks like Dak is that they play so good for one game that everybody forgets about his horrible games. It's the same thing with Fields too. Well, Fields, he just had one great game. And so now, for the Bears, it seems like there may be a change. So, yeah. Dave says Dak doesn't even extend plays anymore like he used to, and that offense play calling is so vanilla. We need some new flavors like Mike, come on. So I've been talking about the issue as far as whether or not teams can make adjustments, whether it be on the offense, whether it be on the defense. And the big problem that I'm seeing is, hey, let's go ahead and stay on this specific game plan and not make any adjustments in the first quarter or in the second quarter, right? Let's keep going out there and potentially, working on the short pass or the medium pass and not really going with the run, right? And then, hold up, let's switch it up in the third quarter when we're down by 2 or 3 touchdowns. Well, by that time, they're anticipating the adjustment, so they're doing the same thing. And guess what? The greatest thing about this 49ers team as a whole, they're able to make their changes on the fly, and they're not waiting until things get bad. They're looking at it in real time, and they're saying, all right, we're going to basically switch up packages right now and get it done with. And they're coming at you multiple different ways. Your quarterback doesn't know what the hell's going on. Next thing you know, you got a sack. Next thing you know, you got a scoop and score. Next thing you know, you got an interception. And next thing you know, you're losing by 42 points. So there you go. There you go. Bob says I'm 9-4 this week. It was, you know what? I'll say this. As far as the week 5 as a whole was very crazy. There are a lot of games that I didn't expect the team to win. And there were some people who really stepped up that I think we've been sleeping on as a whole. So, yeah, definitely was an interesting week 5. Greenwood said, listen to the Dallas game was hilarious. Bill's game was a shame. The Patriots should just crash. They're playing into a wall. That's my favorite. We don't want anybody hurt on the channel, my friend. We don't want anybody hurt. But I understand your take. Ecapone says Broncos lost last night was hilarious. Yeah, they're having it tough. But I had the Jets for the win. You had Purdy, or not Purdy, but Wilson, the other Wilson, coming off of a decent loss against KC, and it was respectable. So I definitely expected them to come out and have some fight in them. Jeff King says Purdy is another Kurt Warner story. Went under the radar, got his chance. I agree, Jeff. I agree. I like it, and I'm excited to see what the kid can do, you know, even though he's a December Capricorn. But we'll look past that, and we'll see what Mr. 23-year-old, Mr. Non-Irrelevant now, because he's Mr. Relevant, and we'll see what he can do moving forward. Roddy says, how's your trip? It was great. It was a great time, great food, laughs. You know, it was wonderful, and I'm looking forward to sharing more time with the other side there. So yeah, Bob, yeah, we're doing the Monday night game tonight. We're doing the game tonight. Yes, me Matt says Lions won against the worst team in the league. Well, I mean, you would think they're supposed to, right? The Lions are actually decent this year. I've got the Lions going to the playoffs. So, yeah. Demid says Purdy paid so little, he has to have a roommate. Yeah, but he's managing his money, from what I heard. So, you know, do what you got to do. Go out there and potentially get a ring. And, you know, get that payday. You know, get that payday. So, yeah. Rebecca says, Matt, if the Lions keep winning, they aren't the worst team. So does San Francisco have better passing yards this season than Dallas have, and also still holding their seats as one of the best teams of all the NFC? Yeah, I mean, right now, the whole question in regards to is Dallas's defense number one has been settled. Right now, it's San Francisco on both sides. Best offense, best defense, and they're the team to beat, without a doubt. Yes, me Matt says, I bet my roommate before the season started the Lions would win a playoff game. One playoff game? We'll see. We'll see. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So, yeah, that's going to be it. Like I said, the question was, should Brock Purdy be in the MVP conversation? Out of 53 votes, 57% of you guys said yes. I agree with that, yes. I'm excited to see what he does further along in the season. And, yeah, we'll take it from there. Tonight, it's going to be Monday Night Football. I will be streaming the game. I will see you guys later on tonight. You have yourselves a great afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll see you later. Peace out.